Okay, we began a sugi yesterday, machlokis between Rabbi Yochanan and Ula regarding when you're loika and you get malchus and you have mammon, what takes precedence? So Ula said, "Kol malcham sheh, you have mammon or malchus, mammon mishalim milka loika. You pay the money, okay. But what's his source? We source was what was Gezer Shava Tachas. We learned that from Inu from Ayin Tachas Ayin from Niskei Mammon. It says Tachas by Niskei Mammon. It's Tachas by Anusa. So even though there's going to be Malchus, you're going to pay Mammon. That was his source. Tachas. Rabbi Yochanan disagreed. Rabbi Yochanan said that Milka Lucky Mammon Lay Mishalim. You get Malchus and you don't pay. What was his source? It says Kedei Risha Asai. They was just atas adam chayva v'yata mechayim mishum shtei rishuyos. You only chayiv one, you not chayiv two, and it says right after it's aboyim yakenu. So which one is it? It's aboyim yakenu. It's the malchus. That was the source for both of them. We asked from Rabbi Yochanan from two sources. We asked from Hovel b'chavero where you pay, and we asked from Edom Zomnim where you pay. So we ended up concluded b'favor Ibshet Torah by Edom Zomnim says yad biyad. And by Chovel B'Chaver says, "Can you not say lo yidav anitem yad liyad?" So special ribu like Rabbi Yochanan, and in those two instances you pay rather than get malchus. Now the Gemara is going to go now and ask what did each one not like about the other, right? It says what? Baruch ben Shol Yecheskel Neshama Shavan Aliyah. Okay, so now. Okay, so we're beginning on the bottom line on Lamed Beis. The bottom line, Lamed Beis. Rabbi Yochanan, my time Rabbi Yochanan, who says you learn out Kedei Risha Asai that you get Malchus and the Imamin. What did he like about the Gezer Shava of Tachas? Now, the easiest way out is to say he didn't have the Gezer Shava. Guys, that would be the easiest way out. He didn't have the Gezer Shava. So if you look at Tosfos, the second Tosfos in the bottom, Rabbi Yochanan, my time Keula. And you can't possibly answer that he didn't have the Gezer Shava of Tachas. In other words, there are places in Shas where we do use it, and so it's known. And obviously, Rabbi Yochanan didn't disagree over there, so you can't give the teretz that he didn't agree with Tachas. So obviously, it must be a different reason, and we'll see what that reason is in a second. What's the reason? Says it's Imkain, if what? If you're going to get money and not pay, but talta ervas achois v'loy segala. Now the Torah says that if you're with your sister, you get karis, and if you don't get, whether you get any place you get karis and you give hasra, you'll get malchus. So if you're going to tell me that you have mammon and malchus, and you're honest your sister, there is no chiyuv of money of malchus, only money. So you mevatel it. You mevatel it, right? You mevatel Torah. Says the Gemara. But one second. There's a lav. Yosef pen Yosef is a lav. Machlokes, what's the lav? It's the loy or the pen, but it's lav. And yet there you're paying and you're not getting the malchus. Edom Zoymim Nami. Ika betalta v'hoyim ben hakas Rasha. That's the chiyuv of malchus by Edom Zoymim. And nonetheless you're paying. So what do you have to say? I'll tell you. You know where you can possibly go ahead and get malchus? That's by Edis Ben Gush Ben Chalutza. We're all familiar with the first Mishnah Masech the Makis, right? Ketza Edin Nasim Zoymim, right? Meid Manish Punish Ben Gush Ben Chalutza. Enoimim Yasa Ben Gush Ben Chalutza. Tachtavel like Aboyim. You get what? Malchus 40, right? Let's you get Malchus. So in other words, you want to know where you came about that? It'll be over there. That's where it is. But normally, Mammon and Malchus, you're going to pay money. And it says the Gemara, and as well, Nami Kigain you hit him, but it doesn't hit the Shava Pruta. In that case, you'll be over Lo Yosef Pen Yosef. However, you don't have a chi of money, so then you be mekayim over there. You go ahead if you're ma'anis your achoisa by geres. What's the halacha going to be, right? What's going to halacha? You're going to go ahead and you're going to get malchus. Why? Because there's no money. So in other words, if that's your whole svara, that the reason you get malchus and the money because you can be mevatel mammon, I'm not. I give me mevatel malchus, I'm not. I can have the heichetimsa. What? exactly where you'll get Malkus. So back to the original question. What's the reason that Rabbi Yochanan does not hold like Ula? You can't tell me it's because you're Mavatal Malkus. You won't be Mavatal Malkus. You'll be Mekayim Malkus by Chaysa with a Baigeris, where there's no Chi of money. Therefore, there's a Chi of Malkus, and you get that. So very geschmack. So right now we're holding my timer, the Rabbi Yochanan, who says you get Malkus and not money. Why doesn't he agree with Ula, who learned Tachas to get money and not Malkus? And for the Gemara, Ella Rabbi Yochanan, you put the aleph in Ella Lashon Charata. That's not going to work. Ella Rabbi Yochanan will tell you, Hi Tachas Asher Ina Mi Boy Leil Chidabaya. In other words, here's my teretz, guys. You know why I don't lose Ula? Because I need Tachas for something else. Once I need it for something else, I don't have the extra for. In order to darshan Gzeira Shav, it's got to be what? It has to be extraneous. It has to be extra and mufna. Not mufna, since I need it for something else, and that's the reason I don't learn tachas. Okay, that's the reason. What's the din? Sorry, what's the reason? Dom Rabbi Amakra tachas she'ina. Hi tachas she'ina mechlal the ikka boisha supagam. Pirish, guys. If a man is minus a woman, you can pay 5 possible things: boishes, pigam. Tsar, right? Anus, you're paying. Does the 50 shkolim you get, is that encompass everything? Or no, it's just for the knas? And the answer is it's just for the knas. How do I know that? You're paying 50 shkolim, tachas ashe'ina, just for the act of ina is 50. But any other extraneous payment that you're going to pay. Since I need tachas to tell me that the 50 only is for the knas, and not for any other payment, not including any other payment, I can't learn out tachas from tachas ashe'ina to from ayin tachas ayin to teach me that you get money versus malchus. So therefore, I can't learn Gzeira Shava. Of course, I need it for this other din to tell me that 50 is only the act of Inoy and nothing else. So therefore, he learns tachas for that. Says the Gemara. Now, what about Ula? The Ula, guys, what's that? Guys, and Ula, who needs the tachas to teach me mamin, mishalin, milka, loylaki. Obviously, the tachas is not mufna, right? So nafka midarava. He learns it from Rava. Dama Rava, amakra. I mean, it is mufna. Amakra. The nasan isa shaychavima. The man who lied with her should give lavi anaira chamishim kesef. Hana shchiva. The hana of the act of shchiva is chamishim, and we can infer michlal the ikka baisha supagam. We can infer there is baisha supagam, so there must baisha supagam, and therefore everything is good. Okay, so now let's go. Let's chazar riba. Machlokes Ula and Rabbi Yochanan. Ula says when you have mammon and malchus, you pay money. Rabbi Yochanan says mammon and malchus, what? You go ahead and get malchus. What does Rabbi Yochanan not like about Ula's source of tachas? He doesn't have Gzeira Shava. It's not mufna because he needs something else. He needs to teach me a din of what? Of when the 50 only is for the act of anusa of violation, it's not for including boshas upagam. What about Ula? Well, obviously says it is extra tachas for that. He learns it from the nasan isa shechima lavi anayra chamishim kesef. Okay, so we have a source for Ula being tachas. That's the source of what of you get malchus and you pay. Rabbi Yochanan's source is kedei risha asay, right? That's 2 sources, guys. We're just going to give it the same sugya, right? Another sheet. Rabbi Laza Omer, Eidim Zoymim. Now, how did we know Eidim Zoymim pay money, guys? Guys, how do you know Eidim Zoymim pay money and don't get malchus? Because it says yad biyad, right? What was the lashon? Yad biyad. Why does it say yad biyad by Eidim Zoymim? Davar anitim yad biyad, which is money. So now, says Rabbi Laza, that din that you pay money, I don't need a pasuk for. It's a svara. In other words, I agree in the din. No one holds Eidim Zoymim and you're going to get, well, no one holds, but I'm saying our sheet in the Gemara is you're going to pay and not get malchus. You're going to pay and not get malchus. That's our sheet though. We learned it out from Yad Biyad. I'm changing the gesa from Rabbi Elazar to Rabbi Elazar, not Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Elazar Omer, Eidim Zoymim Memoina Mishalim Milka Leilaki Mishum Delav Bnei Hasraninu. In other words, you know why, guys, you pay? Because there's no malchus. You pay because there's no malchus. Why is there no malchus? Because Eidim Zoymim don't get hasra. Guys, you can't get malchus without hasra. It's not possible. You need hasra for malchus. A lot is a warning. You have to know before you get malchus, you will overrun that warning, right? So if you do this, in fact, You have to be allowed them to be an aid because you have to know exactly what the pasuk in the Torah is. You have to tell them what you're being over. It's not enough to say that, oh, you know what, if you do that, you're being over the Torah. You have to tell them exactly what you're doing wrong. So now, the reason why Eidim Zayimim, you pay and not Malchus is because there is no Malchus. There's Pashit, no Malchus. Why? Amarava, pay that. I'll bring you proof that they're not B'nai Asra. Nisri B'hu Emas. What exactly are you going to give them Asra? Nisri B'hu Meikara. If you're going to give them before, let's say a day before, an hour before, Amri Ishtalin. You can say we forgot. We forgot. In other words, usually you have to give like right before. No, they're going to say forgot. So Nisri B'Shas Ma'isa, what would the opposite thing be do? Give them right. They're back. They're in court. They're in court and say, guess what? If you're going to do this, guess what? Parshiv Lo Misade. You're going to go ahead, what, and leave and not say, hey, this guy's. Look at Rashi. Beautiful Rashi here. Says Rashi. Go down. Down. Parshiv Lo Misade. Afilu emes. Even if they're not going to lie, even if they're telling the truth. In other words, guys, you would have to tell every aid that comes to Bezdin, right? You have to tell them, B'shas Maisa, Hayil v'anu cheshudim beinechem, ma'alanu l'tzara. What stopped us? What do I need this for? You're going to come to court, and the first thing I'm going to tell you, guess what? Or Leisana b'yached shakar, and or Eidim Zayimim. You're going to say, so you know what you do in all intents and purposes? You're in a car accident, you turn around, say Eidus right away. No one testifies. It's not worth their time. Right away. Anytime an offender bender, the first thing I do is look for an aid because I know the person's going to lie. So one time I had a person of certain pigment. He said, yeah, I gave him his number. They called him up. He refused to testify. Yeah, I have one. I don't know why it doesn't work. Okay. Now, anyway, so people are going to separate and they're not going to go ahead and do Aedis. You're going to obliterate all Aedis. So, if you say before, guys, they can tell you they forgot. If you say B'Shas Maisa, you're going to effectively end all testimony. So why do you say Nisruhu B'Soif? So go ahead and warn them after the fact. Once they can't retract their testimony. So Memela in Svara, I know Eidim Zayimim do not get Malchus because there's no Hasra. Memela they pay. So I don't need the pasuk of Yad B'Yad to tell me they pay. Memela they pay because there's no Malchus. Masla Abaya, you know what? I got to work around. In this ribahu b'toich kedei dibur. Okay, we know that toich kedei dibur is kedibur dami, right? That Shalom Aleichem Ma'ir v'Rebbe is the smart toich kedei dibur, and you don't even have to go ahead and Tosfos says and finish it in that period of time. As long as you began in that period of time, it's considered toich kedei dibur as you are ongoing Isaac b'Isay Indians toich kedei dibur. So therefore, why don't you go ahead and do a toich kedei dibur? Maskal Ravacha Brei Ravika v'Nisru B'Ha Meikara. Go ahead and give them Aedis the day before. The Nirmas B'Huramiza, and then you know what? The next day goes to this guy. Guys, in other words, the guy, you gave them warning the day before, right? The guy goes testify, right? And you go like this. And you remember the testimony. So Zumara, he says, "Not. That's not. That you need Asra. That's not." In other words, Abaye is under the assumption, no, you do need Asra, you just can't give it, or he has a workaround, go ahead, be Marames, whatever it is, or go ahead and tell him Tekadei Dibur, right? No, you don't need Asra. Why? Why is that? If you're going to say that Eidim Zayim require Asra, then when you don't give them Asra, you don't kill them? The inu boy asra. Is it possible that they're able to go ahead and kill without asra, and they would need asra? Guys, the guy they're testifying on wasn't warned. They're false aiders, right? So you're going to tell me that what? We says right? You need kasha zamam. What they wanted to do, that's what you need, right? You need kasha zaman, right? So what's going to be over here? They're testifying against obviously what? Doesn't need asra. because they don't really do anything wrong. So how could it be they would need asra to kill someone who doesn't need asra? That's not kachas zamam. So obviously it must be that what they don't need asra. So therefore, a buyer goes ahead and rejects what he said. So that you said that raya that you don't need asra is nishkan raya. That's a buyer's no. Really, no, it is a good raya. You don't need asra because you can't possibly give them asra. So l'chayr Rebbe Elazar is gerech that mama and mishalei milkul lucky because Edom Zayim don't need asra. Memelech they don't need asra. There's no malchus.
Yes, when they give the drishas and fakirs in Bezin, right? They don't warn them the consequences of the Seder Torah if they are in Torah. They don't do like the perjury warning.
Again, drisha v'chikir is just a no. They don't warn you. They just want to ascertain whether you're good aid or not.
No perjury warning.
No. Maskav l'Rav Sama Brei Rav Yirmiyah. It's very nice to have you. You could have not come late. You could have stayed home and done on the recording, but no, here you are. You're nice in that fashion. It's appreciated. Why you like? And Maskav l'Rav Sama Brei Rav Yirmiyah. You didn't believe me for a second. El Meyata Gerusha Ben Chalutza Play Makasha Zomam Kamas Rabbi Biboy Hasra. If that's guys. If your whole source for not needing asra is kasha zamam, then gerushim and chalutza should need asra, right? Because then gerushim and chalutza is not kasha zamam. We all know the first bottom marcus. That your kid learns that. Everyone knows that. The first bottom marcus, right? Everyone knows that. You know there's such a thing called what gerushim and chalutza, and you know there's what gullus. You know those two cases. So then gerushim and chalutza is not kiyah kasha zamam. According to Taisus, there might be okay, but the Gemara is kasha and Taisus and Gemara. We'll see that yourself. But l'chayra. It's interesting. So read the Gemara Kasha. If your whole source that Edom Zayim don't need asra, because then it's not a kish and kasha zamam, it should be therefore ben gush ben chalutza, which is not working through the guidelines of kasha zamam, should need asra. Amakra mishparecha yelachem mishpare shavel kulchem. Let us din achayshem mishpar and edus. One din across the board, one general din. So once you don't need asra for Edom Zayim, you don't need it even for what for. Well, you can't even kind of kasha like Ben Gush Mechalutza. Okay, now, according to the Rabbi Yochanan had a problem, right? What was Rabbi Yochanan's problem? Chayvul b'chaveroi and Edom Zayim. What was the problem? The problem was, guys, he holds that Kedei Risha Asai, Kedei Risha Achas Atam Mechayvoi, Biatam Mechayim Mishtei Meshuyos, and it says Aboy Makenu. So therefore, I can only get one. Which one, Malchus? Yet you have Chayvul b'chaveroi and Edom Zayim. So now. We just took care of Edom Zayim for Rabbi Yochanan, not a problem. Rabbi Yochanan, you don't have a problem. You know why? Edom Zayim doesn't need asra. If it doesn't need asra, there's no malchus, so therefore it's not a kasha to you. What about chayvul b'chadei, right? If you hit your friend, you chayiv two things. What do you chayiv? You chayiv money, you chayiv chamisha devar, and that's like tzari pushev u'baishes, and you also chayiv for lo yosef pen yosef. You also chayiv for hitting somebody. Yet Rabbi Yochanan said what? You should get malchus. So we answered yesterday what the fairish roops of Torah asher yinaseng loy nisina that you give one to the other. So now we're coming up with another pshat. Says the Gemara, Rav Shisha Brei David Yamachayil v'Chaveri Nami Moin Mishal Mulko Lucky Ehacha. Okay, this is the parsha guys of the parsha of the Mei V'Lados. It's a parsha in Mishpatim. It says v'chiyinatzu anashim. Two men are fighting. V'nakvi shahara. They hit a pregnant woman, and she miscarries. The child comes out, and nothing bad happens to the woman. She doesn't die. Then you should go ahead and punish. You should give in front of Dayanim. However, if there is an asayin, the woman dies. You're going to pay nefesh tachas nefesh. Now, nefesh tachas nefesh, it means you're going to die. Now, there's two. Why would you die over here, guys? Two guys are fighting. One guy wants to kill the other guy. He really wants to kill him. He mamish wants to give him a hakah, a zetz that would kill him. He doesn't hit him; he hits somebody else. So this is miskavi lohari gezeh, which is machloikas and Sanhedrin. Guys, are you here? Lohari gezeh. Are you chayiv or not? Okay, so that's important. And then it says nefesh tachas nefesh. If you hold yechayiv, then nefesh tachas nefesh is literal. Guys, if you hold yechayiv, the nefesh tachas nefesh is literal. You wanted to kill the woman, you didn't. You wanted to kill the women, then nefesh tachas nefesh, you're going to die. If you hold that niskavin l'hari gezeh is patar, then obviously what does nefesh tachas nefesh mean? It means money. Good. Let's see inside. But those with that hakdama. Says the Gemara, we have a source that Chaver b'Chaver pays and doesn't get malchus. We're speaking about a fight. Don't read that as mitzvahs. Don't read it as matzahs. It's b'matzois. B'matzus shebemisa kasem medaber. It's speaking about a fight. If you're speaking where what? How? In other words, we're going, guys, that this is that you're chayiv. The sky is there, and nefesh tachas nefesh means what? You're going to kill the guy, right? Says the Gemara, how could you kill the guy? If you didn't warn him, how could you kill him? It must be that what? That you warned him. Guess what? If you kill him, you're going to be chayiv. Now, umusa ledava chamor having muteros ledava hakal. So, and we'll say hasra for dava chamor, hasra for misa is hasra for dava kal for the malchus. In other words, yesh b'chal masayimana, right? If you give a guy a warning 200, in the warning of 200, it's 100, right? So mamela, if you warn the guy, you kill him, you're going to get it's a warning, at least for malchus as well. V'am rachmana, it says, v'lo asayin, and if the woman doesn't die, anish you pay. So what do you see in the place of malchus and money? You're going to go ahead and pay, guys. Outside. This guy wants to kill this guy. He doesn't kill the guy. He kills the woman. What's the din? Nefesh tacha nefesh. He's going to die. Good. He's going to die. Now, how could he die? Did he have asra? Yeah, he had to have asra. If he didn't have asra, then it could be nefesh tacha nefesh. He must have had asra. Good. Must have had asra. Now that hasra does two things. One, it's hasra le'inyan misa, but who adin it's hasra le'inyan malchus for hitting the guy. So now, if he dies, you're dead. You don't pay him. Come lay but the Rabbi. This is one of the sources. If she dies. If she doesn't die, then you pay. Good. There's malchus there also, correct? Why is there malchus? Because you gave us for Misa. Once you gave us for Misa, there's a for malchus. Yet you're paying. So why do you see like Rabbi? This is the source of Rabbi Yechanan. By Chayil B'Chaveru, we have a pasuk that teaches me when you have a chi of malchus and a chi of money, you pay. One more time. Again, this is taken literally. If two guys are fighting, they hit a pregnant woman, she miscarries. Now let's look at the woman. Well, the question is he going to have to pay value of this baby to the husband? That's the shaila. If you say come lay b'drabmina, you're not. If you don't say come lay b'drabmina, yes. Good. What happened to the woman? One of two things. She either lived or she died. If she died, come lay b'drabmina. Now, what's the come lay b'drabmina? Because you're going to die. Why are you going to die? Well, it says nefesh tachas nefesh. Now, why are you going to die? You never got asra. Oh, it must be that what? Did get asra. Oh, so you did get asra. Then what? You're gonna die. So that hasra you got from Misa is so encompassing. It's also considered asra for malchus. So now she doesn't die. Are you mechuyev malchus? Absolutely. She doesn't die. You mechuyev malchus. You hit her, correct? So you're not dead, but you mechuyev malchus. What does it say? Then lo asayin, and if there's no asayin, the woman doesn't die. She pay. So you have a raya that what? Moment of malchus. By chayvul b'chaveru, you're going to pay. Yeah. You're going to hit this guy. Okay, so niskavi lahoreg ezeh, you mechayim for ariga. Doesn't have to. You're Maisa. It's not on this particular individual. You don't say I want to kill this guy. You say your act that you're doing is an act of ariga. And Chanami, there's another opinion. We'll see the other opinion, which makes sense to you and me as well. But this is the raya according to this opinion. Okay, it says the Gemara, Maskevla Ravashi. 1 second. Maskevla Ravashi. Maybe it's not. Maybe there never was a kivum for malchus, and maybe it's not a raya to Rabbi Yochanan. Maybe because only chiv mammon. You went ahead and assumed that just because you gave asra for misa, automatically it goes for the malchus. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't. And imtin soloi mahave, and listen to this. And if you're going to say it is a good hasra, mimai de misa chamura, bilma malchus chamur. Now, this is a very, very funny svara, right? Now, it doesn't mean what you think it means. Here's what it means. If a person in a situation, right? Person in a situation of Misa or malchus being tortured or malchus or misa often might go ahead and choose for the misa. So they may choose the misa rather than the torture. Yeah. And no. So therefore, your assumption is automatically that misa is mochama, maybe malchus is mochama, right? Dilma malchus, right? Chama. The Amar, listen to this. The Amar Rav, ilmole nagdua lechananya mishol v'azaya polchul itzlama. If they would have gone ahead and give malchus to the Chananya, Mishal, Vazarya, they would have served the Avodah Zarah. They would have bowed down to the Avodah Zarah. Okay, we'll get back to that in a second, guys. We'll take that as a separate sugi in a second. We'll do Taisus, okay? But let's see how it fits in over here. You see over here, they got a choice right away, like we spoke out. Oh, dead, boom, burnt, finished. What? Nagdua, Yisurim. Look at Rashi. It doesn't say like not 40 malchus guys. Nagduha, Yisurim. In other words, they're going to torture him. Right? They're going to torture him. I was just thinking that there's an opinion, if he commits suicide, ach is a miyut. There's a Tosfos that says that Shaul committed suicide because he was scared that the police would torture him. So you see that there was a head of suicide for that is a makar for the head of suicide. If you can be scared in a situation where you're going to be abused, and especially the Shaul was the king that was permitted. Right? I'm just saying there are situations like in the Holocaust, people kill themselves rather than go through the tortures of the Nazis, right? Rather than, yeah. Okay, but I'm saying, but this is so they said they would have done it. So what do you see from that? That maybe the view of malchus is more chamor. So just because you gave hasra for malchus, not necessarily, and even if you're going to say it's hasra for me, hasra for misa, maybe it's not hasra for malchus. Amalei Rav Sama Bered Rav Ashi Ravashi, Vimi Lo Rav Sama Bered Rav Ashi Ravashi, V'leishodim Cha Ben Hakosh Yesh La Kitzva La Kosh Ein La Kitzva. 1 second. One, Hanani Mishal V'Azarya was Yisurim. Rashi said they weren't going to stop. What's the halacha by malchus? You know what they do? They first go to a physician. They go to a physician and they say how much they estimate how much you could take. And the guy, that's the max, 39. That's the max. So in other words, how could you possibly go ahead and indulge the idea that you'd say that Misa, that Malchus and Mochamed and Misa, it's not. And Uriah from Chanayim Shalom Mizayah is not a good Raya. Master of Yaakov min Pokim. This is very good according to Rabban and Da'ama Nefesh Mamish. Good. Guys, you have a Raya from this that you're going to pay money and not Malchus, right? Why? Because Nefesh means death. And then for your Hasraf is death. There's another way to look. What's the other way? The other way is Haroitza and the Skavin Laharigazeh, the Harigazeh is Pata. So the Pata meaning even if she dies, you Pata. So what does Nefesh Tachas Nefesh mean? It means money. So you have a Raya. Very good. Your Raya, your attempt was that he gets killed, the person, for killing the Ishahara. Elo Rebbe Dama Mamin, like Rebbe says that no, there's no the Skam Lahar is Potter. My Iklanema. What Raya do you have? What to Rebbe? What Raya do you have to? What Raya do you have to Rebbe to Rebbe Yochanan? You have no Raya to Rebbe Yochanan whatsoever, right? There's no Raya to Rebbe Yochanan. Why? Because there is no Malchus. There's no Malchus. So Ella Rabbi Yaakov min our pocket the Rav Mehacha. Here's your source, guys. Here's a source for Mammon and Malchus that you pay by Chayvul b'Chaverei. Im Yakum, if he gets up, what does the pasuk say? Pasuk says, Im Yakum v'Salich b'Chutz. The person, you hit a guy, he gets up and he walks outside on Mishanto, literally on his stick, meaning he what? Rashi says is that he gets healthy. V'Nika Hamakeh. And Rak Shifta Yirapa, you pay the doctor bills and you pay what? You pay his disability. You pay his disability and his doctor bills. Now, could you go ahead and possibly think that this person is walking in the street, this person will get killed? What do you have to tell me? You put the person in prison. The person who hit, you put him in prison. The Imayas, and if he dies, the one he hit, get lean away. The loy mayas, and then if he doesn't, then shifta yitain v'rapa yirape, and then what? Then he pays the doctor bills. So in other words, as soon as the guy hits somebody, we question him. You're going to incarcerate him. If the person he kills dies, he's incarcerated. He's killed. If not, then he pays the bills. If there was no asra when he struck the other man, the other person, am I mikdal? Why is he getting killed? And now we'll go ahead and say the same thing. And giving hasra for what? For the davachama for misa would be musa to the davakal malchus. What does the Torah say? Shift on yitain v'rapa yirape. Again, it's the same riot, guys. You hit a guy. Obviously, it's a hakad that could have killed him. Why? Because you struck him so much that he was in the hospital. Well, he's in the hospital, you're incarcerated. Now, obviously, if he dies, you're going to die. So it must be you got asra. Good. What happens if he doesn't die? What happens if he doesn't die? Then you're going to pay. So is it chiv malchus? Yeah, because we're going with the same svara that what musrul dava chomer is musrul dava kal. Says Gemara. So it's the same raya. Now, what are we going to do? Same kasha. Maskul avashim. You might the musrul dava chomer have musrul dava kal. Dilma lehave. Maybe it's not. First of all, maybe it's not. In other words, maybe hasra from misa, hasra from misa, and that's it. Then Tim Suleima have, you can say it is good. Might the misa chamura dilma malchus chamura. The damar of the Rav Moli in the Duach and I Mishal Vazaya Pokel with Slama. So we have the same opposite. Damar of Samarve, the Rasi, the Ravashi, Vimilor of Samarve, the Ravashi, the Ravashi, the Leishan Lekaben Akod, Sheish Kitz. There's no difference to you. Akod has ended because Shein Kitzah. So the Chayra, your kasha is your raya that Misa is that Malchus is Mochamer is in this kind of raya. Maskuvar of Rav Mari, Memaidev Mesid, the Nika, Mikatala, Dilma Bishage, Vidiku Megalis. Maybe it doesn't mean that. Maybe it means galus. Maybe there's never a chiyav of misa, and therefore never be malchus. Maybe it's a chiyav of galus. Kasha. Okay, the big kasha over here is like this. Hanani Mishal Vazaya, right? Yeah. It's a Avodah Zarah, correct? What's the halacha if they tell you is it one of the big three? Yeah. So that's the big, famous question. Let's see Taisus. Second Taisus down. Omale Nagdua Hanani Mishal Vazaya Havi Paki with Slamatema. Minolon. How do you know that? The Aminim Baraya Kishayt Siu Es Rabbi Akiva. Amar Rabbi Akiva said, "Kol Yamai." You see him at Stara Pasuk Zeh. B'chol Nafshecha, B'chol Moedecha. Aim Alma Mashma the B'chol Nafshecha Ma'iri. Afilu Hoyim Miyasun Esa Adam B'Yisurim Koshem. Do you Rabbi Akiva show you Masrik Bisrei Masrik Barzel the Koshem like that? In other words, who l'chayra had a worse Yisurim? Rabbi Akiva or Chaim Mishal Vazaya? Rabbi Akiva, right? And Pashit and Malchus, certainly when you can compare Malchus to this, Malchus is much, and we see that the person is required to. So what's your raya that they would have given in? There's no raya that they would give in. Okay. So now, the Rabbeinu Tam, the Oiseit Slem, Loihoya Avodas Kechavim, Mamish. But Rabbi Akiva already was Shmad. Rabbi Akiva was don't teach Torah. Rabbi Akiva was Hanani Mishal Vazari got off the hook, guys. They didn't have to kill themselves. Meaning, Nebuchadnezzar, he set up a statue that people should bow down to, not to bow down to a plach avodah zarah, like the servant avodah zarah, the shtakla avodah zarah, but to bow down to the king. He held himself, certainly held himself as a very high-falutin individual. But you give covet, you curtsy, you bow. So that's what he held. So they don't want to do that either. So there's another Torah. So how were they allowed to kill themselves then? Okay, could be or it could be Barabim, it could be Barabim, they want to Kaddish the shame. So there's Torah on that, but it's Torah. So therefore, so Ella Havi Asi L'Kavan Melech. The whole reason this claim was made was to cover the Melech. The Afapi Kain Hoya by Kiddush Hashem. And Taisus says Afapi Kain, even though they didn't have to die, they made a Kiddush Hashem. Well, the Kach Masru Asma Lamisa. Behind the Chsiv, and therefore they made a pasuk. But at the end, Umil Polchul Slom and Mashma Shat Slem Hoya by this Kechavim. It's Mashma Polchul. The Lashon Polchul is Mashma was. But the bottom line is that you have no raya from the Akiva was a different situation, but the Yisurim. So they didn't have. So they would have gone through the Yisurim. Why? Because it's not necessary, since it wasn't really Mamash Avodah Zarah. In other words, what's the kasha? It's one of the big three. So how can you say they would have gone ahead and done what? And given in just by being not just by but Yisurim they would have given in. No, they would have given in because it wasn't Avodah Zarah. Because it wasn't Avodah Zarah. So I heard a very, very nice thing I heard today. So from Mordechai Kamenetsky, very nice part. It says over here, the Akiva was we have Gemara Brachas. So Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Akiva was the Rebbe of Klal Yisrael. All the Torah Shebal Peh comes to Rabbi Akiva. We had the Gemara in Samech Beis in Yevamis. All his Talmidim died till he went up north and he started Torah. Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda Loy, and Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Shem Bar Yochai. All his Talmidim, right? The Talmidim, everything comes from them. Everything that and that's the Messiah is all from them. All Torah Shebal Peh is Rabbi Akiva. It's amazing. So Rabbi Akiva, even in his death, was the ultimate Rebbe. Look at the famous Gemara, right? That he's put in prison for learning, and the prison Papias ben Yehuda. He was also put there. Amalei Papias Mia ve'achal kan Amalei Ashrecha Rabbi Akiva shenit fast al devrei Torah. Oy loy lepapa shenit fast al dvarim b'telim. V'shosha haitzis Rabbi Akiva lahariga. They took Rabbi Akiva out to die. It's man kriya shma here. It's man kriya shma. V'yisarkin es b'sarei b'masreka shel barzel. And they were combing his body with hot iron combs. Amalei Talmidav Rabbeinu Ad Kan Amalehem Kol Yamai Hayisi Mitzara Pasik Zeh B'Chol Nafshcha Afilu Noiteles Nashmascha Amati Mata Yavai Liyadei V'Kaimenu Yach Sheba Liyadei Lo Yekamenu Hayamarich Be'achor Ashias Nashmascha. Afilu is dying. Rabbi Akiva was teaching him. He was teaching the halacha. Halacha B'Chol Nafshcha Ma'idecha. You have your chance, opportunity. Mamish the end of his life. Mamish at the end. The last thing he did was do what he was like to death. He was the Rebbe of Klal Yisrael. He even taught him in death. Right? What he's supposed to kind of call nafshah. Beautiful there. Beautiful there.
Right?
Yeah. Beautiful.